South Dakota. It holds something more than its national monuments. Something louder. Something faster. Something that will have the adrenaline run through your veins. A band that changed music forever. This is their story.
Well, I'd say that it all kind of started in Lemons, South Dakota. I was in a band called Dystopia of the Blood Mammals with with Rocky. I sang the vocals and he was the drummer. Man, we rocked pretty hard, you know. It was something that, you know, the rock gods talk about all the time, you know.
Yeah, we used to do shows around town. We used to go to other towns and play. Yeah, I mean, when we went to Morristown one day, and it was a couple hours before our show, so we went to do a little diner, and we saw the Carvin Brothers duo.
When I was 10 years old, I started my first band. My papa was a farmer, so I would always write songs about plowing the wheat or shucking the corn for the season. And once I got a couple songs, I started playing at Little Lily's Cafe. You know, I gotta admit, I think almost the whole town of Morristown would come to see me play. You know, it got so big that I didn't even need a job because Lily was paying me so much money.
Before they could change the world forever, we must ask ourselves one question. Who started Mt.Crushmore?
So we went up to them after the set, the Carvin Brothers. We said, hey, come see a show with us in Lemon. We're playing. And they came and they loved it. They loved our music, our hardcore music. So they wanted to play hardcore music. We wanted them in the band. I let them into the band. Simple as that.
After one of my sets at Lily's, Rocky and Billy approached me and asked me to come see their show in Lemon. And once I got to Lemon, I saw the stoplight, the one Lemon stoplight, and I knew that I was in the Big Lemon. It was the biggest town I'd ever seen. So I saw a band that night called Gore Sabbath Apocalypse, and that was the first time I ever discovered heavy metal. Sadly, I missed Rocky and Billy's set. I was too busy looking at that stoplight. Anyway, I went up to Rocky and Billy after their set, and I said, you know, I have fallen in love with heavy metal. And so that moment, Rocky just fell to my feet and began begging me to join the band. So, you know, I thought about it, and I just go, you know, what the hey, I'll join your band. So, to answer your question, yes, I started Mt.Crushmore.
Who started Mt.Crushmore? Well, I remember wanting to start a band with the lads from the Carvin Brothers right after they were done with their set, you know. So right when they were done, I approached them and I said, hey, you know, me and Rocky, we want to start something big and we think you could add to that. So we decided to show them what the hardcore scene was all about. So we took them up to Ettinger, you know. It's a small little town, but the hardcore scene there is great. And you know, we were in the show and we were in the heat of it, and it was great, you know. And I remember looking over at Cliff, and he loved it. He was rocking out. He was feeling it in his soul, and that's when I thought, hey, this is the best time to ask him. So I just went up to him and I said, hey, get with us. Be in our band. We need you. You know, we need you to start with us right now. That's really how I remember how I formed Mt.Crushmore.
Yeah, when we decided that all of us were getting pretty serious with the band, we said first on the agenda, get some music recorded. So we recorded with my cousin Sid. he had recorded plenty of church choirs, so we knew that hardcore music would be, right up his alley. We got an album recorded easily, like within a week, so we decided the next step would be go on tour.
At this point in MtCrushmore's career, they were really kind of finding their sound, testing the waters, but none of them had really been in a band before, so when they really got what they needed, they took off like a rocket. But hardcore music, it wasn't really popular in Morristown or, Lemon, so they had to really hit the big ones. They had to really work their way up the ladder.
We started playing shows all over South Dakota. We played the biggest places in hardcore music. Huron, all right? McIntosh, sound familiar? Watertown, okay? It can't get much better than that.
Oh yeah, I remember playing Billings, yeah. It was one of our favorites actually. That's also where we met our manager, Frank.
Known as Frank the Tank for his assertive personality, Frank Getz gave MtCrushmore the start that they needed.
When I first heard MtCrushmore, I was absolutely blown away. I really was. I mean, I just heard of them because I was on a business trip in Brookings, and I saw a show, and so much talent, so much passion. I was absolutely shocked when I found out that they were not signed yet. So I called up Columbia, and I signed them right then and there to a 5-year deal.
Now, when you say Columbia, do you mean Columbia Records?
Oh yes, my own private record label in Columbia, Missouri. Why do you ask?
Once we picked up Frank as our manager and we got signed to his label, I think all of us in the band really started to piece together just how famous we were getting. We were playing shows all over the states. You name it, we played it. You got Nebraska, you got Montana, you got Wyoming, Idaho, Iowa, both of the Dakotas, and I'm not even afraid to brag that we played a show in northern Michigan.
With MtCrushmore's talent and a little sprinkle of mine, we managed to become the center tabloid of every single hardcore magazine in the Midwest. There are 10. So we even had our own lunch boxes. We had our own candles. We each had our own individual action figures at one point. They didn't make mine. Bottom line, MtCrushmore was a hit.
Yeah, MtCrushmore, I vaguely remember them. But you know what I mean? They're like the First Amendment, like you're not afraid to say the F word, the S word, the rest of the other 7 dirties. To me, they're like a calm wind, like therapy, very zen-like. They embody everything that I wish I could be in, just a rock, just like this.
See, at this time in MtCrushmore's career, they were, this is what me and the members around here kind of like to call the golden age. They were pretty much had a monopoly over the entire music industry. They were selling albums left and right. They were selling Black, Turquoise, Sight to the Soul, Sabertooth Prayer. And then there was a Bloody Knives Falling from the Ceiling, Call Stacy, Get Her Out of There Right Now, This Could Be the End. And that was a pretty long title, but personally my favorite. And these lyrics at the time, they just spoke so true to who we were. It was kind of a therapy session, as it were. And they spoke to who we were and who they were becoming. Just had so much passion.
We were a big deal. Well, we actually got so big in the US that it it kind of started going to our heads a little bit, you know. Well, we thought we were invincible, you know. We thought we were gods, but sadly, Rocky took the worst of all that. Rocky, I mean, he was going bloody insane. I mean, once we started playing some of the southern states like Utah or Nevada, he started using Burt's Bees.
Rocky had gone beyond the normal use of chapstick. It was an addiction that would ultimately harm MtCrushmore's career.
At this point, Rocky was, he had a pretty big problem, I would say. It got so bad that one time, his mouth was completely covered in the chap of the stick. He couldn't eat for days. There's one time where I had to tackle him to the ground. And I smacked him. And I said, no. No. That'll haunt me forever.
To watch your friend go through something like that, it's just... I mean, I've known him since I was 5, you know? Well then he came up to us and he kind of asked, but we knew it was time to get him some help.
Yeah, I mean, I was out of control. I was selfish. I wasn't a good friend. I wasn't a good bandmate. Once I truly hit rock bottom, you know, Frank checked me into rehab, and well, now I can gladly say that, you know, I'm 10 years sober. Yeah, it was a dark time in my life, but luckily, all that faded away when I met Martha. Yep, she was the most beautiful nurse at the rehab center. I mean, I still loved heavy metal, and I still loved, you know, rock and roll, you know, but it just didn't matter anymore. I loved Martha. I loved Martha more than anything.
Once Rocky got back from rehab, it was like he was a completely different person. I remember thinking to myself, what's going to happen to MtCrushmore now? On top of Rocky being distant from the band, Billy started somewhat of a peace movement. He was strictly enforcing this thing called a no-hitting policy.
We're not going to be able to have any hitting tonight, or pushing, or punching, or pulling, or kicking. We really just want to...
You know, at that point in the band, I was done.
You know, once Rocky told me that he would be missing a leg of the show dates because he was marrying Martha, I kind of assumed the end was near MtCrushmore. I mean, the guys, they were drifting apart. There's nothing I could do, right?
You know, one day I was waiting in the studio for Rocky and Billy to show up, as usual. And Frank came in and told me that they would not be making it to recording that day. I'll tell you what, I was livid. I was absolutely livid. It was the final straw. So I called up the label and I told them that I would be leaving MtCrushmore. I was done.
Well, I was actually done with the band when Rocky went to rehab, you know. I contacted Columbia about doing a solo album or something, because actually I had started writing some sitar pieces, which oddly I felt better about, you know. I felt better than I ever did with MtCrushmore, you know. So I sat the guys down and I was just told them, you know, that I had to leave the band, and they were devastated, but you know, I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, after me and Martha got back from vacation, I just realized I wasn't a rocker anymore, you know? I just didn't like that lifestyle. So I sat all the boys down and I expected them to be, you know, understanding that I wanted to quit. No, they were the exact opposite. They started attacking me with just their vulgar words. I mean, it got so intense that I had to call the cops because, quite frankly, I didn't feel safe anymore. I couldn't handle it.
How did they break up? Well, when Columbia headquarters found out that the record sales were declining significantly, we ultimately decided to drop MtCrushmore from our label. Yep.
Well, as of right now, I'm just, you know, living life with my adorable family. You know, I love being a dad. I love being a dad.
As you may know, I am a very established author now. I write books about science fiction characters, and I have my own award-winning children's series called Goddard and the Star Kingdom. You know, I gotta say, I think I'm doing pretty good for myself.
Well, I've been experimenting with different techniques and different, you know, ways of making music to bring a new light to the whole genre of music, you know. I do a lot of psychedelic, post-Woodstock rock, you know, but I like to expand my mind and keep an open mind about new things, and, you know, I just feel better about myself and where I am with my music nowadays.
Do you miss MtCrushmore?
Well, I'd actually say that we're better off without the band. I mean, I think I'd go so far as to say that, you know, everyone is doing better without the band.
Can you believe it? They forgot about me. They forgot all about me. I was in the band for the whole span of the career, but I managed to slip by everyone involved. I mean, you can look at the pictures. I'm in every single one of them, but somehow I don't exist in the band. I am actually quite impressed with how long they went without acknowledging me. I mean, the last time I ever spoke to one of them was when I asked where El Chico bathroom was. I mean, I'm the lead guitarist. Why do I not get any acknowledgement? I'm the lead guitarist. I'm the only person who sits here and plays the guitar. I am just really shocked that I can be in the world's biggest band and absolutely no one knows who I am.
What instrument did you play in MtCrushmore? MtCrushmore. They've inspired millions around the world. And although MtCrushmore had a brief career, it was the most inspiring 9 months that music has ever experienced. So when you decide to make your mark in music history, always keep in mind that you have some pretty big shoes to fill.